All right, the challenges facing the telecommunications sector in Nigeria, they are pretty apparent. We've been following this for quite a while. The latest numbers that we have from Airtel Africa PLC, let's take a look at them from the revenue standpoint with respect to the operating profit. You see their 5.3% drop in reported currencies, although for current currencies it was 20% up, 4.9 billion. EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and acceleration, was at 2.4 billion, 5.7% drop. Operating profit 1.6 billion, 6.7% drop. You can see the pre-tax loss of 63 million, loss after tax of 89. We also look at the revenue breakdown for the company, seeing voice actually still leading the way as opposed to data, but data, slowly catching up. Voice revenue, $2.1 billion. It did see a 12% drop there. Data coming in second place, 1.7 billion. Mobile money did post a 21% climb year on year, $837 million for the fiscal year for Airtel. Now, some of the tough parts of the report there with respect to the exceptional items, and we've had this conversation with a number of other companies. The 807 million made up of the FX loss from Nigeria, 770, Malawi, 37 million. Capital expenditure, about $737 million there for the full year, up about 1.4%. So we're going to get into the company figures now with the Group Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Segun Ogunsanya. I think he joins us from London. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. It's good to see you again. I haven't talked to you in quite a while. Can you talk to us about, I guess, what the numbers and the operating environment with respect to those earnings figures?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm very proud of the results that we've delivered. I like to talk about the underlying performance in constant currency because we don't have any control over foreign exchange rates in most of the countries where we operate. But let me start by talking about the underlying performance of our business. Across the 14 countries where we operate, we've increased top-line revenue by 20.9%. That is an absolutely good performance. In terms of EBITDA, we've expanded EBITDA. We operate across 3 different regions. We operate in Nigeria, of course, country and a region. We operate in East Africa, made up of 6 countries: Zambia, Kenya, Malawi, Rwanda, Tanzania. And we've grown strong double-digit, almost 24% in those countries. We operate in the French-speaking countries. We have Niger, we have Chad, we have Congo, we have DRC. We've grown 10% in those countries as well. So if you strip out the currency issues and you limit the performance appraiser to constant currency, then it's been another good year for Airtel Africa in terms of top-line performance, in terms of EBITDA performance, and all the 3 verticals, voice, data, and mobile money. We grew in voice about 12%, data and mobile money, high single digits. I'm very pleased with the performance. What are the headwinds? We suffered 2 major headwinds. One is currency changes in 2 countries, Nigeria and Malawi. Nigeria being very, very significant. The second one is energy price increase. Our business depends majorly on diesel, given the lack of grid connectivity in most of the countries where we operate. So anytime we have a big swing in energy price, then it affects our profitability. If I put the energy price swing one side and focus only on foreign exchange, you've seen in declared results, in Nigeria alone, we suffered FX loss of about $700 million, close to $800 million, 770. That's only from, and that's one we describe as exceptional. If you go to the one we describe as normal, there's another $300 billion that we didn't describe as exceptional. So meaning in Nigeria alone, the effect of the foreign currency swing is actually $1 billion. That's what it is.
Wow.
And that's why you see losses that you see. Of course, Malawi is a small country with $37 million, but Nigeria is a big elephant in the room. It's $1 billion FX loss we suffered in Nigeria in the last financial year.
Thank you so much for the breakdown, sir. I always want to talk about technology and your capital expenditure. CapEx, about a little over $700 million for the full year. I think about a 1.4% growth. What are you focusing on in terms of your capital expenditure, expanding your network? Can you talk to us about what the future looks like?
Yeah, we basically break CapEx across 3 main lines. One is capacity expansion, one is coverage, and the other is mainly regulatory. When I talk about capacity, that means in the big cities where we are, we want to offload traffic in congested sites to additional sites. So we actually put what we call capacity sites, additional sites to just take traffic away from sites which are congested. That is one clear use of our capex. The second is expanding the coverage, going from urban into rural areas, into unlit areas to really plan network. That is second use. And finally, there are some regulatory sides we need to do to fulfill our license conditions. We also spend money around fiber to just back all the traffic to provide resiliency. That's where we spend most of our money on. Of course, in 2 countries in the last financial year, we set up data center. In Nigeria, we actually laid the foundation stone for a new data center in Nigeria. That's been the largest data center in the country. That's one extension of our capex in the last financial year. I'm doing the same in Kenya. So broadly speaking, we spend most of our capex on expanding the capacity of our network, increasing the coverage of our network, finally increasing the resiliency of our network. And now we have these new business lines we invested in: data center in Nigeria and data center in Kenya.
Fantastic, fantastic. Mr. Ogunsanya, I know you have a program with UNICEF where you're trying to spread education to school children. Can you talk about some of your corporate social responsibilities, some of your initiatives that you're doing for the year going forward?
I mean, that's a key pillar of our sustainability program. If you recollect, about 3 years ago, when I assumed the role of Group CEO of Airtel Africa, one of the first things I did was to deliver and explain what we're going to be doing in terms of sustainability to our key stakeholder. And this partnership with UNICEF is one of the key pillars of that sustainability agenda. As I speak, we're actually the single largest private sector supporter of UNICEF in Africa. We put in $57 million aside to support UNICEF, about $7 million in cash, $50 million in support for connectivity. And the objective is to make sure we spread digital education among children in Africa. We want to touch at least 1 million children in Africa, give them access to education. We don't want education to be reduced to 4 walls of a classroom. You can learn wherever you are. And that's what we're doing with UNICEF, spreading digital education, more digital inclusion, making sure our children have access to tools they need to learn how to improve their worth.
Mr. Ogunsanya, I really have to have you weigh in on a topic that's been discussed here in Nigeria. Engineer Gbenga Adigboye wrote an op-ed where he talked about the need for tariff increases for players in the sector like yourself. We've had other players on the show here, where they talked about the need for prices to rise so that things can be more flexible in terms of being able to manage your costs. Are you in line with the rest of the Association of Licensed Telco Operators that say that they need to have the freedom to raise prices?
I am broadly in line with inflation at 30%, with fuel price going for 850 to 8,500 naira, with devaluation at the level it is. For the health of the industry, I believe we need pricing to reset the profitability and the health of the industry, which is so crucial to every other thing we do in the country, not only in Nigeria, in any part of the world. We need a telco. Telco is an horizontal upon which every vertical relies. Now, if it's not very healthy, it's going to be difficult for an economy to really make progress. We need the right pricing framework to deliver good connectivity to customers anywhere in the world.
My final question for you, sir. What do you make of the AI craze? People are saying that artificial intelligence could take over, call centers, and could revolutionize telecommunications. How are you seeing AI? How are you seeing where technology is moving to? And, how is Airtel trying to utilize all that?
It's going to complement every other thing we're doing. It's not going to replace human intelligence. It's just going to complement things we do, make things happen faster, quicker, with a lot more robustness. I think we wouldn't be excluded from this. Africa should be part of the AI world, and we do have a very rich database that provides information for artificial intelligence to thrive. It's something that we're really part of, and we're using this to drive customer experience as we speak now. We're using this to create efficiencies in the way we reach our customers, in the way we reach our vendors. It's really the way to go. I don't think there's any option but to use a lot more of AI in driving efficiency and in driving customer satisfaction.
All right, I understand I have a few seconds left. Can you just give an outlook for 2024? What's your outlook for the operating environment and how you think things working out? It's already May, so at half year. How do you see things going for the rest of the year?
We operate in 14 countries, not only in Nigeria, and Africa is facing quite a number of challenges. But I'm very optimistic about the resilience of the industry we're in. If you look at 3 clear data points, if you look at unique SIM card penetration in Africa, it's still about 49-50%. Look at the access to banking, it's relatively low in Africa, and access to mobile internet is very low. So with those 3 clear data points, I'm very optimistic about the future, about the opportunities that are available in the mobile sector in Africa.
Mr. Olusegun Ogunsanya, Group Chief Executive Officer, Airtel Africa, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about your earnings and technology and the outlook for your operations across Africa. I appreciate your time.